Testing, testing. Okay, bitches. Another podcast episode. I have not recorded uh, a podcast episode in a month, which doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. It's just where life has been. It's where I've been. And, oh, um, I've been experiencing a lot. I'm not going to lie. I've been experiencing a lot of trials and tribulations. And at one point, I wouldn't say life was necessarily easy, but it was like at least I was getting, ahead of, or at least I thought I was getting ahead of certain challenges, unlearning a lot, relearning, um, reteaching myself a lot, and interesting. I'm not gonna lie, it's been interesting. I've been learning a lot, a lot, and being an entrepreneur, you know, doing the work, being seen trying to do the work is very intimidating. It's pretty hard. It's not like something a fellow entrepreneur artist told me. This shit is not for the weak. And if it's one thing that my mama ain't raised, was a bitch. She might have raised her voice, but she damn sure ain't raised no bitch. So I like the challenge. I like increments of hustle and bustle. I'm not don't get me wrong, I'm definitely a go getter, but I'm not a New Yorker. Like I'm not a city girl. Like I'm not a girl that feels most comfortable in cities necessarily. But I also understand that growth doesn't happen in comfort. And in order for me to expand and do what God is asking me to do, then I'm gonna have to get past certain fears. I'm doing my best. I'm honestly doing the best that I fucking can right now, and this shit is hard, and I'm not gonna cry because I'm always crying. I don't even know where to like begin on like updating you all on what life has been like, putting myself out there this year. I really started this summer putting myself out there, and I started this internship at a print studio, and I didn't tell anyone until, well, I still haven't told anyone necessarily. I didn't make an announcement. I didn't feel like it was necessary. It ain't for if it ain't for everybody, ain't everybody business. And for me, I'm learning a lot, and I'm taking in a lot of information, and I'm also being challenged. Like I'm realizing, like working as a creative director, that I have to separate my art from my work, which is really hard as an artist because like a lot of us, we use our art to feed ourselves. Like we use our art to take care of ourselves. And it's like another artist told me, like, the best advice I would give is like separate the work you do from your job. And for me, the work I do is very like, I don't know, like in order for me to do a job, it would be like for me to like, because a job is something different than like I feel my career or like my life calling. Um, and I'm trying to find a balance and find a rhythm between the two. And I'm kind of getting mad at myself for not figuring it out sooner. Like I get mad at myself for not knowing how to do certain things that I never even done before. Like I've never even done screen printing before this internship. And sometimes I'm extremely hard on myself, which is obviously a lot of people are. That's nothing new. But I'm extremely hard on myself, and I like to do things on my own. I'm so used to doing things on my own as like, and I hate to put a black woman card, but I'm a black woman, bro, and it's like literally we are at the fucking bottom of the totem pole, and I don't know, like it's just interesting, like, and being in a creative space, like no matter where you are in the arts or like Depends, because if you're doing ballet, then ballet is definitely more woman dominated industry, I think. I don't know. I fucking hated ballet when I took it. But anyway, yeah, like it's hard for me to separate the two because I know that this work is something that I will be doing whether I'm getting paid for it or not. However, a lot of artists are fucking poor. Like I've learned, like being around more artists, like I used to always not feel like an artist, and that's because like I didn't finish college. I'm a HBCU dropout. I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from the projects. I come from nothing. I was not given a silver spoon in my mouth. And so a lot of my like will to ask for help is very like null and void. It's fucking depleted. It's gone. It's not even existent. So I don't know. I'm realizing a lot. I'm learning a lot, and it's hard because like artist spaces are small. Like realize how big. Sometimes I just get so like ah, like I feel too much. Like I worry about too much. So I worry about so much shit that I have no control over, and it's like I got eventually where I was able to like realize that. But like recently, being in new environments, new spaces around new people, I've been traumatized by people who were supposedly mentors and supposedly leaders, and them end up taking advantage of me and my naivete and my lack of experience in certain spaces. And like going into certain spaces around certain people, I'm like, I don't realize what is not normal until something bad happens to me or around me, and I'm like, why did no one warn me? Like I get mad because I'm like, at this point, well, not even at this point, just in general, it's just I'm a person who doesn't. I've learned that like over time, like there's a certain like I mind my business, you know. But if I see harm being done, if I see an injustice being done, I'm not gonna sit by and just let it happen, you know. And for me, I was I thought I had healed and let go of certain grudges, and I have not. I have not. I've like healing is not linear, and when you get re-traumatized over things that happened from your past, it's like it feels like you regressed and like you have nothing to show for all the hard work of healing you've done. Like it's like I've worked my ass off to get to this point of, you know, health and wellness and self care, and to be, re-traumatized and feel like I'm regressing is like fuck, you know? But I'm not regressing. I'm learning and I'm progressing forward, and I just feel a responsibility, to be what I needed to be. What do they say? Be the change you want to see. And it's very easy to sit back and in the quiet and not act and not move and not engage and participate, because it's easy to sit on the sidelines and watch someone else do what you want to do or do what you've always wanted to do. It's like it takes a lot of gall and balls and will and responsibility to step up and say, hell fucking no. Like actually no. I don't move at everyone else's speed. I'm realizing that. Like and it's okay that I don't move at everyone else's speed. I don't know. I just it's like it's weird. It's just so weird because it's like I be wanting to speak on certain things, but I know at the end of the day, like I don't have control over these people, bro. Like at this point, I don't even care. Like it's not that I care, but I don't care to the point. I can't care to the point where it's self detrimental to me, and that's what I've been doing lately, where I'm caring too much to the point where it's causing harm to me. I'm not feeling good and well about what's going on. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure out. I'm doing too much trying to figure out and not enough just being present and living, because it's hard to live when you're in survival mode. It's hard to be present when you don't have financial stability. And a lot of artists don't have financial stability. And that's why I'm so passionate about bringing artists from poverty into spaces where they can flourish. Life ain't fair. Like, obviously, it's just not, you can't help what you're born into, but you can damn sure, like, work on doing better, being better. And for me, that looks like learning from what I did in the past and moving forward in a space where I'm using that information and I'm integrating it into my lifestyle. And I'm constantly, like, I'm trying to step back away from being too goal oriented. Like, I need some direction for my life, of course. It's just right now I need a job. Like, and I don't want to commodify my art, but because my art is sacred to me. But I also realize that I don't have to share all of my art. Like, there's, like, as an artist, I think we always think that we have to, like, I think it's okay to, because I saw this phrase, like, die empty. Like, someone was talking about what's his name? Fuck it. Anyway, he's a producer. He just died. Old man. I don't remember his name. Black male. I don't know. Anyway, see, I feel apathetic towards, this election results. Frankly, I feel as though most black women, black femmes, black trans women, I think they all anticipated that result. I think we knew from the get go that our voices are not valued in the conversation of capitalism, of the ability to move forward in your artistry and in your self expression. Because for me, I can't speak for everyone else. I can't speak for trans women. I'm not a trans woman. I can't speak for, gay black men. I'm not a gay black man. I'm a queer black woman. And so for me, I fucking hate labels. Like, I hate labels because I think it's a way to conquer and divide. But I also think it's a way to weaponize differences too instead of celebrating them. Um, I love music, I love dancing, and I've seen too many times where uh, people have weaponized the more language and experience and knowledge that they have instead of using their powers for good. I understand that there are people who exist in this life who have more than others. And sometimes when you use the word privilege, those people get triggered. And it's like, bro, privilege, responsibility. Like, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I feel as though if you have more of something than someone else, it's your duty and your responsibility to not weaponize that. Now, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? Whatever. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. But at the same time, really got to be like, we really got to be honest with ourselves about, like, the dynamics in our communities and in our spaces. I feel, if you, and this goes for all communities, like any community at this point, if you weaponize white, cis, hetero whiteness, you are a part of the problem. I don't care if you're a black woman. I don't care if you're a black man. I don't care if you're a Hispanic woman, man. I don't care if you're a non-binary. I don't care if you're gay, straight, trans, queer. I don't care. Because what I'm seeing happen in many communities, many adjacent communities, is the weaponization of the top of the food chain. And I think people, we assume that close to cis hetero whiteness is wealth and is freedom, and I don't know if I agree with that. Like, I can't fully endorse that idea because it just doesn't make sense to me. These communities, you go in these communities, you actually engage with these communities, they're still fucking poor, and they're still, lacking in certain areas and spaces, and they're still without. And I think we forget that it's not me versus you when it comes to, like, the differences. Because I don't trust this is the thing. I don't trust nobody that say, I don't see color. What the fuck you mean you don't see color? What do you mean you do not see color? I don't trust nobody that says anything like that, because in my mind, the human race is colorful as fuck. Okay, there are so many similarities and differences that we have in our experiences, and if we do not acknowledge those and give those people a space to talk about their experiences and to talk about their, yes, these are anecdotal experiences, but if we don't hear more of these anecdotal experiences, we won't realize how much we have in common and how much we share as a community. And I think that's why we got the results that we got, because there's too much trying to play the blame game, there's too much infighting, there's too much critiquing and not enough doing. And that's part of why I'm like backing away from certain conversations, because I'm like, this is going nowhere, this is going no fucking where. Because this is what I've realized about conflict. It's not that I don't like conflict, I do like conflict, like healthy conflict, healthy dialogue. I'm not gonna endorse bad behavior. I'm not gonna support bad behavior. I'm not one of those friends. I'm not one of those friends that's not gonna hold you. I'm a friend that's gonna hold you accountable. I'm a friend that's gonna call you out on your shit, and I'm a friend that's gonna tell you when you're wrong. And if you cannot handle that, then you don't need to be around me. Simple as that. Plain and simple. I don't care anymore. Like, I don't have the mental energy to like coddle and babysit people. I don't have the mental energy to make white people comfortable anymore. I don't have the energy to code switch. Like, I am who I am. I just can't be bothered anymore. Like, I just don't want to be bothered anymore. But I know that like, you just have to do what you have to do in certain dynamics and in certain spaces, um, because it's impossible for us all to completely avoid capitalism and you know patriarchy. Because another thing I'm realizing is that, like, working in any industry, pretty much, it's not even like professional, like computers, like any industry you work in, pretty much, whether it's entertainment, it's wellness, it's like horticulture, it is male dominated. And when it is male dominated and you have women coming in to be be pillars in that space, because there is no women in that space, you have men who will then, once there is more than one woman in that space, you'll have them pitting them against each other, because amongst women there are pick-me's. Like, I used to be one of them. I'm a recovering pick-me. Listen, I'm a recovering pick-me because I grew up around mostly men. I grew up around mostly boys when I was younger, and so I've had to confront a lot of internalized misogyny and misogynoir, because I realized where things that didn't feel great, when they were said to me, I was saying to other people. And I'm like, I don't want other people to feel the way I felt. So, like, let me change my actions and my, whatever. And so I am struggling with, like, the process of doing better with the information and the data I've collected from my experience and other people's experiences, while also trying to like maintain a sense of self and not losing myself in all these different spaces, because that's also what I've done in the past as well, and something that I'm like battling with, because I'm open to different perspectives, but I think it's important when we're in different perspectives that we allow people to have sovereignty over their fucking ideas. We allow people to have autonomy over their bodies. We allow people to have autonomy over their mental space and their emotional capacity. And personally, I don't want to be in any space that threatens that or tries to take away, my ability to do so. I'm trying to learn how to keep relationships and stay in contact with certain people. But like, once you piss me off, like, I have a really hard time like letting go of grudges. And it's also like, I don't want to make anyone else feel bad about things they can't control, but how will you know until you open your mouth? And for me, I've like assumed a lot about people, and I've had a lot assumed about me, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm part of the problem, but I'm also seeing where, like, the problem is like out of my control. And when I try to look like outward at what I can control, it's like very little. I don't know. It's also like, I think too, like, the pygmy thing, it comes from not just misogyny, but I think it also comes from like us over sexualizing women and ourselves. I think sometimes, like, because I have been mostly surrounded by men and out, having like older cousins and stuff, and I've learned also that women are like envious, or like they feel like there has to be some sort of competition, or like, they don't like me. And this is not like a, oh my God, they don't like me, like, because I honestly at this point I could give a fuck. But I think it's because, like, if you like that, that question that people ask, like, can what is it, like, one was two, is like, one is like, why, instead of asking why did she sleep her way to the top, we should be asking why are men allowed to withhold power for sexual favors or something like that. And that kind of like reframed my mind too, because I think it's also women, we look at each other as sexual. Some women look at each other as sexual beings, and if you have a male and a female being friends, you'll have people saying, "Oh, men and women can't be friends. Men and women can't be friends, platonic friends." And it's like people say, or she put them in the friend zone, and it's because we expect women to be hypersexual beings. So when they are, engaging with their sensuality and their sexuality, society can go, "I told you so. See, she asked for it. It's her fault." And it's like, bro, I've gone through so many like stints of like victim blaming myself, and like even catching myself in my thinking about other women, like, well, I mean, look how she carries herself, like, what do you, and it's like, bro, that's not and I was saying these things from observing from the outside of the club, essentially, like, I really, what I didn't want to, I think it's also because I thought that, oh, these women are making it harder for women like me who don't want that shit at all, like, who don't utilize that loophole at all, who want to be able to work in a space that is male dominated and be respected and be able to work without being looked at as a sexual being. And don't get me wrong, I love myself, and there are things that I love to do that are sensual, in dancing and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, I'm grown, like, I'm fucking grown, like, but at the same time I'm young, like, still very young, and I have time. Like, I keep like thinking that I don't have time, and I do have time. Like, I just have to accept that I have time and feel away from this idea, this mindset, this lifestyle of poverty. Like, I grew up in poverty, and I realized, like, I grew up in, like, my mind has a lot of, I thought I was like better at, like, my poor thinking. But I realized that when I like started my internship, and like it was a sink full of dishes, and like in my mind, like when I see a sink full of dishes, my mind says wash. And so I'm washing the dishes, and one of the other artists come down and in the kitchen was like, "Why are you washing the dishes?" And I was like, "Because they're in the sink." They were like, "It's a dishwasher right there." And I was like, "Oh wow, I'm a different kind of poor." Like, I realized in that moment, like, oh, you're really poor. Like, hi, poor. Like, you're really poor. And that kind of rewired my brain also, like, just like how I move, like, and I don't know if this is like other, I'm pretty sure other black people have had this experience, but not all black people, because we're not all a monolith. I can only speak from my experience. But when you walk into a beauty supply store, like, or you walk into a store that's not black owned, or even if it is black owned, like, you just always get this sense that you're being watched and surveilled, which, because you are, you don't realize like how much you have to, like, how much mental energy you spend not looking like a threat. And it's like, bro, my simple existence is a threat to y'all, and that's insane for me, because I'm like, I just want to create, I just want to, learn. And I be realizing sometimes that I'm not I need to slow down, and I need to like relax, and I need to like allow myself to go at a good pace. And my pace is not everyone else's pace. My season of movement is not everyone else's season of movement, and that's okay. And I think I have to keep reminding myself of that, because I'll get in my head where I'm like, everyone is ahead of me. I'll get hard on myself and disappointed because I'm like, I'm not in school. I'm not like, I'm not in college. And it's like all these changes that happen around you, you get to this point where all these changes are happening around you and you're not a part of any of it. It's like it's happening around me is ever evolving and I'm not a part of any of it. Like I don't have a say in any of it. And I've gotten to a point where I want a say. I'm not a person that wants to cause a ruckus. I'm not a person that wants to protest or like that's just not my tea. That's not not what I feel I'm most useful. I'm a nurturer and I'm a homemaker and I'm a lover and a fighter when necessary. And so trying to learn the balance, the dance between business and creating, like creating and business are like oil and fucking water. It's like oil and fucking water. And I keep like trying to anticipate things. I've always been like in this flinch mode. Like I have genuine PTSD, bro. Like childhood trauma, fucking like sexual trauma, and through different experience, I realize certain things where I'm like, oh, I'm not as like progressed as I thought I was. Like I'm not where I thought I was, and I'm having to like remap and reframe because it's just not I don't know, it's just not it's a lot. I've been feeling a lot. I've been fighting like seasonal depression. I've been fighting grief and time is going past and my grandma's getting older. It's been really hard for me to accept. We all struggle with family. Um, we all struggle. Some of us, I feel like most of us struggle with being estranged from certain family members. It's really hard, like when you want your family a part of, you want to build a family business. You want your family to be a part of what you're doing. And I have to keep reminding myself that they may never get to that point. And I don't like that feeling because it's like I want my family to be free. I want my family to experience peace and joy and wealth and abundance, but I have no control over my family. I've been afraid to travel. I've been afraid to honestly step out of my comfort zone and I feel like I have to stay I've always known, you know. I watched my elders work like dogs and not be compensated for it. And we have to acknowledge the difference in our experiences, because like I said, I've judged people by looking at them. I've assumed things about people by the cover of their books, and I've realized how people have done that to me, and I don't like how it feels. I want to experience things that God has for me, that I'm supposed to experience. I want to be able to afford doing laundry. Like I want to be able to afford to take care of myself. I feel like just certain experiences are barred from certain groups of people simply because they can't fucking afford wellness. Like I can't afford a gym membership. Not And I get it. You don't have to be in a gym to work out, but being in community, being around other people who want to better themselves. Oh, I'm not gonna cry. What I've learned also from being in this internship is being around other artists helps me to feel more like an artist. It helps me feel like I'm not as ostracized as I thought I was. And I think that's important. I think it takes a village. I think we are united by grief. And if we don't allow ourselves to feel that individually and then tell our stories, we will never see how the parallels line up and link up, and how a lot of our experiences are similar. Not the same, but they are similar. Even though we look nothing alike, or we come from two completely different upbringings and backgrounds, we still have the same experiences of grief, because grief is a human emotion. And I think right now people are grieving and, just upset, but I don't know if we're grieving together. I think we're grieving in these small little enclaves and in our little vacuums and our little sections. And I don't know, I just still feel like I don't fit in anywhere. I still feel like I'm just not home. Like I just don't feel at home. That's probably why I prefer to stay home all the time. I don't like that. I want to experience the world. But I financially right now, it's really hard. It's weird because it's like you can't exist without capitalism having a hand in what you're doing. And my artistry, my creativity is really important to me. It's really important to me. It's really heart centered, and I just think I need to recharge because I've been feeling a lot lately. I've been feeling a lot, and I get overwhelmed. And sometimes I feel like because I get overwhelmed, I don't think my brain works normally, and I'm making bad art. The art is not to my standards. I mean, it's not shitty, but in my opinion, it's shitty. I don't like talking about myself like that, but it's shitty. I'm indecisive. I can't decide what to execute. And I'm getting back into this paralyzed by analysis space where I'm not believing in myself. I'm doubting myself again. I'm listening to everyone else's opinions and their thoughts, and I just want to get back to listening, taking what resonates, and leaving the rest. I don't know if I belong in front of the camera or behind the camera. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And I don't know who to trust. I don't trust anyone. I trust myself and I trust God, but I don't trust anyone. My trust has been marred by personal and business relationships. Trust is such a potent risk. It takes forever to build, and I don't trust people who trust way too fast. I don't trust people who move too fast because that, in my opinion, means you don't trust you trust other people more than you trust yourself. That's not how I live my life. If that's how you live your life, cool. But that's not how I live my life personally. I've also learned that it takes a team. Like I can't do all this shit by myself. I can't do everything by myself. I don't want to do everything by myself. I want a big family. I want to like have a true family where I can trust people and they know they can trust me. But too many times I've put myself out there and been harmed, and I didn't think anything. I didn't think to protect myself, or I had to protect myself in these in interactions because my mind just don't think like that, and it didn't think like that. I don't think that way, and maybe that's a part of the problem. Maybe I should be thinking that way, but I don't want to get lost in that because then there's my villain arc, and I just don't need those issues. Like I'm just trying to get past that. I honestly just feel like I want to delete everything. Like I get to this point where I'm like looking through I don't know what footage to put on top of this shit, and people keep telling me to keep it simple, but I don't know how to keep it simple. Like nothing about my existence is fucking simple. I am a complicated human being, and that's why I'm not in a relationship, and I will not be in one for a good little while. Because I just don't really have that. I'm not consistent, and I don't know. I'm still healing from heartbreak. Still healing from being betrayed and harmed. I'm just trying to get back into the journey. I keep overanalyzing and thinking too far ahead, and I'm not being present into what's happening right now, right in front of me. And that's really hard because I'm just trying to get stable. I'm just trying to have my basic necessities stable, and it's hard to feel like you can contribute to community when you can't even provide for yourself. No, and I don't know. I don't know. Some people say when someone helps you and they're struggling too, that's love. I don't know if that's love. I don't know if I agree with that, but to each his own. I'm gonna cut this off because it's getting too long, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna even put on top of it. Probably nothing. I don't even care. Fuck it.